What is up, winning team? The game is getting interesting because I just found out about the failed lithium deal that happened in none other than my mainland. I'm watching too much anime in my mainland Zimbabwe, yeah, with Donald Trump. Let's talk about it. Guys, before I get into it, it's a bright and beautiful morning. I was just out and I watched the sunrise and it was gorgeous. Back to the world and the BS. So, guys, I was having such a laugh, right, with the Lord, right? You just can't make this stuff up. So, I'm going to start with this, right? Here's what's happening according to what I understand, right? Pretty much the US was giving US aid to Zimbabwe, which I didn't know about, which it's not surprising that I didn't know that. But I would have expected, well, actually, I don't know. But anyway, to Zimbabwe that they cut off last year in November, right? So I found out. And fast forward, obviously, it was something that was a big deal over there, right? And all to swing back in now, talking about, oh, we'll give you aid, but first of all, we're still taking the lithium, but we also want to get all your data. We want the data identifications as far as, and I'm reading here from an actual article, the US was demanding access to biological samples for research and commercial gain, but said it was unwilling to share its own data. You guys, it's like music to my ears because this is exactly the kind of stuff I told you people about. This is exactly what I'm telling you about. And I'm going to show you how both these idiots are playing a poor game here because you guys know me. So backstory, right? In my opinion, right, I've said to you guys about Zimbabwe that I actually genuinely love, I'm Zimbabwean and Zambian, right? And I genuinely love those places, guys. Some of the most beautiful and like most healing place. Like it's just got just this energy. And it's funny because you know how Italy's really right near Africa? You can kind of feel the energy, like almost like it's a gradient changing, right? It is just so beautiful and it's just, it feels like time moves a bit more slowly. I remember when I got off the airplane, like the time we went in 2010 and I was like 13 and I got off the airplane, it was like, whoa. And then we went again in 2018 and I was just like, it's just beautiful over there, you guys. It is so beautiful and I am never too hot or too cold. That's why I said I'm evidently I'm used to the mainland, as it turns out. When I'm over here, I like the cold for some reason, but there, the temperature is just always perfect. Like for me, anyway. I don't know. I can't explain it, okay? Says the girl who's just out, by the way, just so that I could intentionally frostbite my fingertips, right? So I love it there, right? The food, the vegetables, the fruits, like they have flavor, they have nutrients, like it's just so good for you. So I love the country, right? But the problem is, this is always the problem, is the people's. Okay, we have a few flaws. I'm not going to air them out on the internet right now. I will do that when it's actually necessary. But we have our issues and also the president, right? So historically, we've had presidents that are just a little bit extra interesting, you know what I'm saying? Because obviously, we've been in civil wars against the Brits, right? Now, no, this is what I'm saying. All of this, everything coming together in my life, happening in one, when these are the three places on earth I can live legally. It's freaking insane. It's freaking insane, okay? But anyways, these people, right, and my parents, right? My parents used to go to B schools, right? Because the white people that had came there went to the A schools. So they were the first to go to the A schools. You see what I'm saying? So there's things going on over there. Anyway, Robert Mugabe played a big role in like saying, nah. You know what I mean? And so he did and whatever. But then he ends up, this is how they all do, right? He's very, very, what's the word? Greedy. It's just a general problem, a general problematic energy of the place itself. If you ask me, it's just my personal opinion. But the thing about it is, why? Because we've got everything growing underneath us. We've got gold, we've got diamonds, we got lithium, which is the one we're about to be talking about with Mr. Donald Trump over there, right? We got, I think, aluminium as well. We've got some of the most important materials that are being used over here in the West, where you guys think you're so much better because we're more whatever. What is it? This used to tick me off as a kid, right? When I was in school, and we were in geography. This is probably why I hated geography. Come to think of it, right? The more economically and less economically developed countries. And it's like, who gets to decide what we're referring to as development? Because, mate, if all this development is making y'all people's bodies feel like this, that sounds like the opposite of development. That sounds like a downgrade. Like, because you know what I'm saying? I'm honestly like, that life seems way better, like low key. I'm just saying. It was chill. I remember even when we lived there for like a year, we had chickens. We had 100 chickens at a time. And the little chicks used to bundle up together, and then they grew up and whatever. And we had a whole. I mean, this is like we had and we had space, mate. We had space. Who needs a dance studio? We had space, right? And we had like land with things growing. There's avocados the size of your head just in your back garden, mangoes. I remember I used to go and pick the mint off the ground. And it was just so potent. You could smell it indoors, right? Because even now I have a mint plant here. Does it smell of mint? No. You know what I'm saying? So I get why Trump wanted to come over there and, but you see, he fumbled the bag as well, because in Zimbabwe, they fumble the bag because the leaders just get too greedy and they don't put the country first enough. And I don't feel like the people were ready to step up, because it felt a little bit of a crabs in a bucket. It's giving, we're just a little too greedy, right? I just thought that Take Me Crazy song. So that was a problem, right? And then the leaders are like the worst, because they're just like, and also I hate to say it, they love the money from the West. This is the problem. They love it. I remember one of the most embarrassing days ever in my life, my personal life, is the day when I think it was one of these presidents of America, gives like literally like 2 million or something million to Zimbabwe, and the president was thanking on broad day television in 4K. Are you a beggar? They're giving you pocket change, mate. You're not. You need to wise up. You know what I mean? Get rid of the greed and start to think of the people and lock in, right? But then over here, we've got Donald Trump, who thinks he can just, like, bruh, I'm sorry to let everybody know that that deal was the dumbest thing he could have ever thought of. This is the dumbest thing. And you know why it was dumb, Because had he not done what he did before, right? Probably while he started on his power trip he's been on, right? Giddy up. Had he not, at the beginning, taken it away, then they wouldn't have had to figure out how to live without it and realize that actually, so if anything, you provided the perfect opportunity, because now they're rethinking their deals with everybody. And this doesn't even just only affect America, by the way, because China, I think, is the more than the largest like refiner, because this is unrefined lithium. So this is affecting everybody's bag now. And all of a sudden the game changed, and all of a sudden, so I'm really excited. I just think this is fascinating to watch, right? It's fascinating, especially when I've had glimpses from all angles. Really fascinating, and it just goes to show you the game, and exactly what I'm saying is the problem in the world as well, because we've got two leaders here. It all could have been good, right? Where is Trump's honor? Like, where this is a scumbaggery over there. That was a scumbag move. That was such a scumbag move, because that was going to also affect the civilians, and you knew that more than anyone. Like I said, I didn't know about this. That was going to affect the civilians, and so you were really willing to actually risk that many civilians to then just come back. Like, if the United States had been like, we are just cutting it off because we're focusing on us as us, and you guys need to figure it out, cool. That's not the problem here. I want to be very specifically clear here, right? The fact is that you just was such a scam, because who knows, he could have just pitched it and said, hey, just like we let our landlords do that, like in the West anyway, right? So doesn't that the thing we do? Oh, you live somewhere and someone just gets to tell you, oh, you got to pay more now. You could have just said, oh, well, now we're also going to have to take your data and this and this and this and this and this, and see what happened. So I don't see I don't see why we had to do all of that. You know what I mean? And that's not very good. That's like, you see, when I say to you guys that there's certain things I can't do because I'm not that kind of person, right? It's not in me. And I realized that is not how you win in the world. That's exactly what I'm saying. This is exactly what I'm saying. Because he was willing to do stuff like that. That's why he is where he is. That's exactly why. That's why I'm telling you guys, it's not about, oh, the billionaires and billionaires. That's not like pocket change. Even this deal, what was it? 367 million. Is that it? That is not a lot of money, bro. But it probably sounds like it because it's the US dollar, right? It's the dollar. Even though, because I live in the UK, the dollar feels like not real money. It feels like if you had a coin, like it's like if you had a pound coin, right? And a Monopoly coin, and then you melted them together to create two other coins, and those two coins, like each, like one of them, like it's not real money. Like it just doesn't feel like money. It's like it's like the euro. It's like you feel like you're spending Monopoly money. It's just like, you know what I mean? So the US dollar and all of this and whatever's you people's got going on, yeah? Yeah, it sounds nice. Okay, cool, whatever. But it's pocket change. And I wish that we would wake up in Africa, can I just say? I wish we'd wake up that the West is literally giving us pocket change, like literal pocket change. What do you think? That's, bro, they spend that on like on a flipping Epstein settlement. That's what I'm saying, guys. This game, I can't make it up. I could not make this stuff up if I tried. Because these people, yeah, they actually just do exactly like what I'm telling you guys. It's exactly what I'm saying. Like, no one's playing the game smart here. No one's actually playing the game smart. The best way to play is to play fairly and to play together, but there's always got to be someone that's going to be selfish. And in this case, it's these leaders. And it's like, why are these leaders even holding on to power so heavily in the first place? Like, what is so important? Because apparently, like, why do you care? Like, Donald, you're old. I don't think, can I just tell you guys that I believe old starts at like 70, 75, around there. I think before that, you're not old. Just in my opinion, just to be clear, because a lot of people be like, oh, I'm 50, I'm old. The hell? Get back in line. Get back on the thing. Get back into the battle, mate. We talking about 50. Right? He's so old, yeah, and it's actually embarrassing. And I feel like this stuff is actually been being affected because the thing about the West has got such main character energy, and low-key I kind of love it in a way, you know, because it's always the most deluded people that always win. That's why I've been trying to delve into some of my own delusions on this channel, you know, because deluded so the West, yeah, they have strong main character syndrome, and the world does indeed treat them as the main character, yeah. And so the thing is, everyone's watching what's happening. That's the thing about it. The thing about it is everybody's watching what's happening. So I don't think you realize how dumb we look over here, those of us living in the West, with the state of our governments and our leaders. I don't know if you realize that. Look at the state of them. Look at the state of it all. I can't even look actually at Donald Trump on this. And guys, this is when I realized, I'm just like, someone get bro to the old people's home. Okay, you know, it's like it's why are you so, I don't even care, guys, and I got my whole life ahead of me, right? Bro is clinging on for dear life, and I'm just like, why? And I don't get it. This is the question I asked God yesterday. I was like, God, I have another question. My question is, I love it though because he does answer them. That's why I always state them, because I know he's not going to answer me immediately, but he's going to answer it over time, right? And yeah, I was like, God, why do they care so much? Like, what is it? What drives them to cling so hard? You know what I mean? I just don't get it. I don't. And that's what I'm taking away from this. You might think I might be thinking about, I don't really care, guys. Listen, it's all the same. That's what I'm saying. There's all just nonsense everywhere. So I don't really have a side per se. I do have an opinion on both, right? But I just don't really care, because this is just the nonsense I just don't want to be involved in. I don't want to, that this is just, it's irrelevant. And I'm just like, God, what is it? What am I missing here? Because this just doesn't make any sense to me. And I honestly believe, guys, I honestly believe that that's the more important thing happening here, is that we have to understand this all comes down to people's character, the reality of the game of life itself. Because, you know, it's ironically what I dream of doing when I'm an old woman, yeah, all I want to be doing is playing chess, drinking wine, and spreading wisdom. I'm going to be playing chess with all the youth, right? And spreading my wisdom I've gained throughout my years, and just chilling and just cooking for people, living the soft life. And there's still going to be the 9 zeros in the bank account, of course. But what do I need? I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. And I'm just like, that kind of tells me exactly what it is. Like, they are clinging onto, like, it's almost, and this is what the bit that gets me, that makes it kind of dark in a way. It's almost like they're kind of like how the demons work here. The demons, which I don't know if you guys saw my last video about my encounter with some demons, but it was rather interesting as well. So this is like the game was actually, if all of a sudden it feels like the pieces are starting to move, right? But what was I saying? Hold on one second. The demons are clinging onto us so heavily because they know where they're going next. So they want to make the most of it while they're here. They want to make, because they know what it took to get where it got them. And you know what's ironic about that? That the Bible says that the wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous. Can I get an amen? Guys, this stuff, it's just so funny. Like, it's funny. It's funny. But it's true though. Like, it's people, like, the game we're playing, guys, it's not really a game about anything other than the human being and the character that is within them, right? And how they choose to spend their free will and what type of person they try to be. That's why even the Bible says, you know, worshiping God, it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. If you are a child of God, your entire character, there's a specific character you have and all this, right? It's a lifestyle. There's certain choices you make, right? And so that's why it always comes down to this. And this is why I believe God is the person with just the most incredible character I've ever seen in my entire life. Most incredible character ever. Like, most incredible. And I'm just like, you can't compete with that. And that's why he wins. But then on the world stage, all of a sudden, on the world stage, and even in the public, and even just our lives, right? It's always the deceiver that wins. It's always the deceivers, the people who are degenerate, who are greedy. You know what I mean? Liars, thieves. You know what it is. I've been watching a lot of anime, like I said, and I was thinking, yeah, I'm watching Vinland Saga now. I've actually like done a speed run on Crunchyroll the last 3 weeks. And they had pirates on there, right? Just like on One Piece. And I was thinking, you know what's crazy? What's crazy is pirates who kill and steal to have wealth are bad, but governments who kill and steal aren't. Excuse me, can we make some sense of that? Because low-key, if it was up to me and I had a choice, I would be a pirate, you guys. 100%, 110%. There's no ifs or buts, because the hell I'll go out guns blazing. What the hell? I can't operate in that character space. And this is what I've realized about the world. That's what I'm saying. That's just how it is. That's how it is. And we're seeing it play in 4K and none other than the mainland. Right? That's so freaking funny. And like, these people are just funny. Like, and it's actually embarrassing. Like, it's actually embarrassing to be that desperate. Like, that's actually an ick. Like, the ickiest thing anyone does is be desperate, in my opinion. Like, I don't mean desperate if you're like, you're hungry and you're in need. I mean like desperate, like for something just stupid, right? It's pathetic. That's L energy. L energy. I don't want to know that feeling, guys. I can't. I don't want to know it, because that's just, it's not giving. It is just so funny. It's so funny. So yeah, anyway, it's interesting to see this stuff happening in the world right now. And it's interesting to see how it's exactly as I thought. Like, guys, truly, I truly hate being this right about everything. Like, it's just getting long, it's getting boring already. And we just got started. We just got started now. Guys, I was so bored in the house, bored of being so right about everything. Like, it's actually insane. It's insane. And it's like, this is what I'm talking about. It's right here. And I'm saying it to myself as well, because I'm thinking, as soon as I heard this, my immediate thought was like, oh my gosh, like, I feel so much better about life in general because I was right again. Like, so I'm not crazy. Like, I'm actually not crazy. The world is really the crazy place. That is so helpful as a strategy to survive in this place, is just to know it's crazy, you're not crazy. Because then it's moments like this where I feel like I'm just like sitting back, like almost like in a side room with the Lord, and he's like pointing and explaining, this is what I warned you about in the Bible. And he says, this is what I want you about. This is what I want you about in the Bible. But like, the world is the example. The wealth of the wicked will be stored up for the righteous. The righteous may fall 7 times, but they will get back up again. This is what the scriptures say. So it's getting interesting. It's getting really interesting, guys. I can't lie. I'm scared because I have been saying to the God, give me a reason. Like, give me a reason. Give me a reason to care. Like, and now he's like, yeah, oh, you're going to want to play in this game. That's how I feel now. I'm like, whoa. So, like, what are we doing? Like, and so, yeah. Guys, this is just how it is. This is just how it is. This is why I've just resolved to seeing life as a game, and I'm very emotionally detached from the whole thing. Because I just see how stupid it is. Like, it's all just hella dumb, yeah. So let's just make our lives easy. Listen to the Lord, who can tell us what all the steps anyways. We can close our eyes, blindly walk and listen to him, and he's actually going to take us exactly to the winning, to cross the finish line. Yeah. But no. We all want to go and do things for ourselves, and then we want to get all caught up and all obsessed into greed and power and money and fame and all this. Like, who cares? It's like this whole concept of being a hero. Why do people care about being a hero? Why do you care? What do you gain? Because I feel like a hero, like, someone has to know your name. But there are many people who are doing heroic things whose names we will never know. So what's the friggin' purpose in just hero? Right? I want to be a hero. That just seems very conceited. Like, what? You want to stand up on stage with, like, with your arms out like this while you look to the left and the wind blows through your cape, right? For everybody to be like, oh my gosh, the hero! And the little boys and girls dressing up like you. Like, what is it exactly? Like, these things, this is why I never even as a kid, it just didn't impress me. Just like how the old Disney princess, Prince Charming bullcrap just didn't. I was just like, this is just, it's guys, we have to detract ourselves from the game, okay? And just look at it for what it is, okay? And that's why I talk all the time about emotions and how emotions are such a problem, because emotions remove our ability to be objective, right? And then we end up looking at things from, like, through our feelings. That's why I can't stand talking to people, because I do talk through my feelings all the time as well, right? But I'm pretty quick to catch myself in doing it. And also, I know how not to, right? I know how not to, because that was always my survival strategy, was to ignore all my feelings, right? So ignore them and look at everything objectively, because I'd always be trying to prove myself. So I'd always have to have data and evidence for everything. That's why I can't be bothered to get into conflicts with people, because in order for people to believe me, I'm going to have to go and do freaking a whole lot, right? And so that's why I feel like even my relationship with God, yes, it is, I do love him through my feelings, but objectively, it's just the most logical thing. Like, like, objectively, like, take feelings out of it, take need to know where I'm going when I die, and all this stuff that people you see, shouldn't put this whole scenario I was having with God with coffee in the same sentence. Because I did have a coffee, but it's because I was going out, I was like, it'd be nice to have a hot drink, you know what I mean? Anyway, while I was out and it was a bit cold. I was watching the sunrise. Oh, I love it out there. And again, you see what I'm saying? Like, just being out in nature is so rejuvenating. Like, literally, I'm doing nothing, just sitting, and my body is healing, my spirit is healing, my everything is just, I'm just feeling like in rejuvenate, because that's how things are with God. But now, if I want to look after my own body, the heck, all this data, how to eat healthy, how to look good, what's right, how many hours of sleep you need. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you can't compete with him. It's just dumb to try. Like, you just look like an idiot. You look like a child. You literally look like a child. I'll never forget this one day, and I know I'll never forget this exact moment, right, when I was looking after this little boy, right, and he's 2 years old, and we were like by the river. I've told this story before. Well, it was actually by a lock. So we're over there, and he right, what kept trying, right? It was so funny because we weren't like going to the lock. We were sitting on the bench having a snack, right? And anyway, we kept going over there, and he kept trying to run straight in, and I was like saying to this guy, dude. As this whole thing is happening, I was just thinking, I was having a moment with the Lord as well at the same exact moment, because like, this is what it's like with you guys. Like, I'm holding him, I'm saying, no, we can't do that. And eventually I picked him up, obviously. And I was like, we gots to go, man. We gots to go. Because he did one of those, you know, when kids, like, they try to catch you out kind of moments where like they've been behaving and then they just decide to just try and do a mad one. Yeah. I'm ready for those kinds of situations. So anyway, he's trying to do all of this, yeah, and I was just thinking, this is me and God. Like, this is actually me and God. This is actually how God is with me. This is how God is with us, and this is how we look to God. This is exactly how we look to God, right? We look like this exact scenario of just some kid that's thinking, oh my gosh, this is fun, let's run. I can barely even fully run efficiently yet. And yet I want to run, and I want to run into this. It's just like, sir, what are you doing? But then I also love it, because that's the beauty, and that's what makes me so passionate as I am about children, because it's so beautiful that they're so ignorant, bless them. They're just trying. They're just trying. But it's nice to watch them grow, and I love watching them grow and get older, and just, you know, how it's just so interesting, you know, and how, again, even scientific research is coming back to show that, you know, more and more, that the environment a child is living in is the most, well, blah blah blah, it's like, duh, like, God said that for a reason. But then what are we doing with children in the world? Oh, the exact opposite of nurturing. Literally, if there were to be a polar exact opposite to nurturing, is exactly what the world is doing with children. Yeah. Yes. And actually, ironically, the last thing I heard about from what was going on in Zimbabwe, like in terms of legal terms, I can't remember when this was, in the last few years, right? That the president was actually trying to crack down on the castrating of children and adults in Zimbabwe. And I was like, oh, we're trying to move away from that. That's interesting. I don't know if that was real. I don't know if that was whatever, because I unlike the news I just said, I don't know anybody that told me anything about anything, but I was like, oh, we're making progress. Like, someone's actually, like, on a governmental level doing something against what's happening with kids. That is so nice. That is so nice. You know what I'm saying? And to think as well, now that I think about it, right? If the UK law, so I told you guys when we were talking about this church, or was it a church? It was a church. Which church was it? It was UCKG. We're talking about UCKG. And you have to watch that to figure out what that was all about. But basically, in the video, I was telling you guys that turns out, which I didn't know, in some year within past the year 2000 anyway, right? The reason why the UK child laws changed is because of one particular little girl who got abused, etc., etc., etc. And they changed the laws as a result. And in the video I was talking about how the church had failed her, and also which is why that I was talking about the church, but then also her family, because she was being beaten. I think she was the one who was being beaten by her own aunt and uncle after she had ironically immigrated. You just couldn't make these things up, right? You just could not make any of this up. And she died, and somehow, you know, they decided to change the laws because they thought this isn't acceptable. My question is, So what the hell was happening beforehand? Like, because if that was only the year 2000, this is what I said, the older generation, sorry to tell you guys, but you guys are hella guilty. Like, you guys are hella guilty because what were we doing? What were we getting away with? Because I know a lot of laws came into being in the existence that I've existed in. But there are those that were here for a couple decades before that. So I was just like, more than a couple decades. So I'm like, what was legal then? Huh? What are people doing because there was no law against it? That's why I have an issue with the law. Fundamentally, why the world's law never works, because they always have to change it, because they always have to go with whatever's happening at the time. So until, it's like with science, you don't know what you need to research until you know you need to research it. You didn't know that this law needed to exist until you needed it to. But you see, the thing about that is that requires time. And guess what? We don't have that infinitely. And that in there itself tells me and tells you all why I think objectively trusting God is the right option. As long as he is who he says he is, and you find out who he is by his character, which you can only find out about if you actually bother to get to know him. There you go. You see what I'm saying? That's the only way you're going to find out, is you got to get to know him. That's why I don't trust the world system. I don't know you. I don't know who said this is this? Who said who? Said who? It's the same way I feel about recipes, because you guys know I love cooking, right? There's this recipe for this. Says who? Says who it has to be done that way. What if I don't want to do it that way? Like, says who? That's why I can't even read recipes again, but I can't do it. Because I'm just, I read them as like a inspiration. I read recipes like inspiration, right? I hate recipes. I hate following recipes, you guys. Hate it, right? Because it's just like, why? How do I know? How do I know it's not better if I do this instead? You know what I mean? And I do. And it is better, I will just say. And that's how I feel like, with God, it's just like, you have to get to know him. Like, you have to get to know his character, who he is. He's written the recipe, therefore I want to follow his recipe. That's what I'm saying. Because I know his recipe is the best recipe. I know, and it's objective, and all you have to do is look at the flipping dimwits running the world right now and the horror show we're living through to see it, because you got the gunslingers slanging their guns everywhere. And then you got those of us over here, the barbarians. What do you guys call us in the West? The uncivilized, yeah, whatever. I don't know, guys. Yeah. Literally sitting on a gold mine. Not even like metaphorically, literally sitting on a gold mine. And we're looking like this, like, what the friggity frickin' frack is that, you guys? I actually always end up laughing, guys. That's why, you see, one of the reasons I have to stay by myself is because when I see certain things, I can't help but laughing, guys. And like crying laughter, because it's just too funny. Like, it's just too funny. And this is one of those things, if somebody had told me, right, and I'd put it all together the way I have now to my face, I would burst out laughing. Because it's just so funny. Like, what loses? Like, it's just like, that's a losing. This is what I mean when I'm saying about winning and losing. People see these things that these people are clinging to their life, damn near their life with, right? You're seeing these people, right? So you think, yeah, oh my gosh, that's the thing. And it's just not like that. It's just not, because look what they did to get it. Like, what are you prepared to do to get it? That was also the thing that taught us that Jezebel was heinous. That was the first thing. Other than the fact we knew that she was a Phoenician princess, right? So obviously, but again, they wanted to trade. So again, what were we thinking, Ahab? Ahab was all about the money. Yeah, because he was like, yeah, bad idea. Look what happened to Solomon. Poor Solomon, yeah. Been with so many different women, yeah, with all their different gods. This is why bro was all in Ecclesiastes talking about life is just a vapor. Life is just a vapor of vanity. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. That's what but the thing, like, even though I'm in a situation I'm in here and I'm hating everything, this is what makes it. I'm saying, it's like, it's kind of like, sometimes it does feel like I'm just sitting here eating popcorn, watching that. Like, we don't need to watch TV. Just look around you, and you'll find comedy everywhere you turn, like everywhere you turn. And it's so funny, right? And this is what I'm saying to you guys, like, it's character at the end of the day. It comes down to character. It comes down to your character, and it comes down to the fact that, like, ultimately the person of good character, like the greatest character of all time is God, right? So he is always going to win. And the things of this world, when you have God, they just seem stupid. They just seem like things. They seem like things you want to have, like when you have what's actually meaningful. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Not the things you want to aspire to. Like, this is why I'm just like, bruh. Why are we so upset? Like, why are we so obsessed with this? I gotta cling on to power, I gotta cling on to money, fame. Like, are you kidding me? I would love nothing more than to just be filthy freaking rich and completely invisible, and I will travel the world and do my thing. I don't want no, because why would I want all of that? Or with the people I love, you know what I mean? Why the hell would I desire, like, but then I get it, because you're getting the validation. It's the claps. It's the praise, because then you get to live in the delusion. This is why they do it, right? They then get to live in the delusion that they're anything like a god, right? Because that's really what it is. It's all just one big giant god complex. Realistically speaking, I'm like, Elon, who cares about the cyber cam? Like, who cares? Like, what has that added to the future? Like, realistically speaking, like, really, like, if anything, it's not. All this self-driving this, self-driving that. And I'm just like, you know what? Pun intended, accident waiting to happen, but hey ho. We saw how things turned out with the Boeing when they were like, oh, we're going to make it so this more automated from the computer system. And then the pilots were trying to pull the plane up, and the plane was pulling itself down because of the new system, right? That's why I'm against all this technology stuff that's happening. That now, you know, Trump came over all the way to come and get some of our data as well from the mainland, from my mainland. I'm going to call it that from now onwards. And yeah, it's all about all this data stuff. Nah, I don't like it, bruh. And then they crashed the planes. The planes crashed. They crashed because the human being, once again, the Lord won again. The human being who God created was the better suited thing, right? Because that's why he created us to be, you know, the way he created us is you just can't really match that, realistically speaking. And that's why they're trying so hard to do it, you know, all this AI stuff. And hey, I know we all have a hobby, and some of it makes some of us billionaires. Some of us can only do it as a hobby. It's just insane to me though. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna go before I end up finding myself finding something else to actually like start laughing about, because you just get bad. Because when I get like this with God, right? Especially because it's like early in the morning, so I will just be here laughing for like half an hour with the Lord about just stuff, because it's just funny to watch. And also it's the ironies for me. And like, why is it wherever I am, there's always something about where I have come from or where I have lived, where something's going down, you know what I mean? So yeah, anyways, guys, I'm gonna skedaddle. And that was just, I had to come on here and tell you guys about this, and also just share to you why I say so many of the things I say, and how I'm just like, I'm bored. I'm just actually bored of people just not waking the freak up. It's like, just wake the freak up. Like, older generation, step down and go for deliverance. Remember what I was saying to you guys? You guys remember when about this time last year, actually, almost exactly, I was doing all the videos talking about pray for the leaders, pray for the world leaders and all this, pray that they would humble themselves and all of this, yeah? And they're just doubling down. Listen, God gave 9 plagues is all I'm saying. He did give you 9 warnings. So I don't know about it, but I know the guy, and let's just say I'm very happy on the right side of him, and I only want to stay there. So, because that over there, and this is the other thing I love about God, is that how he's different to a lot of these people, a lot of these leaders, right? And a lot of these just people in power, is the people in power are so obsessed with their power that they don't, it's like how when you're like doing complicated thinking, like gaming thinking, or even like mathematics, this is why I love algebra, because people don't know how to do this. Yeah, you have to like take hold of everything that's happening and take hold of your mind, and you have to just stay focused and stay level grounded and be prepared and play the long game. You have to play the long game, and you have to just stay the course and do things in a strategic way. Because if you get caught up and you start getting carried away, or you start not doing things, like this is what I've noticed even in playing games with people, is most people, they have just simply the way, that's why they do things like bluffing. Just simply the way you present yourselves can always make it easier to beat somebody else at something. It just the way you do. That's why, like I said, I never act like I know anything. I always just act and leave. This week's not my try. And then the game starts. It's like, oh, game mode, and then it's like, oh, and then everyone's surprised. But then and while you're all dazed, surprised, I'm now doing my final finishing move. And that's what the Lord's going to do. Like, this is what I'm saying to you. This is what I'm praying for anyways. I'm praying. I'm just like, God, do your big one. Do your big one. Like, do your big one. I would love to see it. I would love to be here for it. And the thing is, these guys are making it easier. Like, because I'm just like, look, what is he supposed to say? What are we going to say? This one be like, it's God loving. Bro, and especially when you're this close to death, one would think when you're the ones who are closer to death, you would then want to now actually get right with God. Like, isn't that this? I don't know, guys. Maybe tell me, am I from another? I am actually. I was gonna say I'm from another planet. I'm just, I guess, from another kingdom, because you're even closer to. That's why I'm just like, your pride is just whoa, too much over there. You're closer to death. Anything can happen at any moment. And this is what you're doing. You're not getting right with the Lord. You're not stepping down. You're not trying to make as many things right as you possibly can before you do eventually die as possible. Dude, that's insane. And the gag of it is that when all of this is said and done, I'm probably still going to be here. And they're going to be where I want to be, which is facing the Lord and done with this place, right? That's the irony. And I'm only 28 years of age. Oh my days, my birthday's in 2 months from now. That is insane. Guys, I'm going to be 29. Oh my gosh, I'm going to develop pride, guys. I'm so scared. That is just like a virus that affects you, like when you're like getting older, that you develop too much pride. I'm actually being so deadly honest. I'm so scared. I need to make my moves now while I still have youthful ignorance and life is still humbling me. I need to just lock in, because oh my gosh, I'm getting older, and I don't want to get the disease. I don't want to get the disease. I can't do it. Like I can't do it. Guys, I'm clinging on to youth, if anything, in that aspect. So anyways, I'm actually going to go because I'm yibbity yabbiting, but and sorry for the chaos of the video, but guys, this is just the mood I'm in. Listen, I've been with the Lord, and just before that, I was watching anime. It's just nice, you know what I mean? And this is all before the day begun. I've gotten with the day before people are even getting up, this, that. And I'm just having my little moments. This is why I'm like, sleep who? Anyway, if life's a game, let's play to win. I was just thinking about the gameplay. Let's play to win. Oh my gosh, you can't make this stuff up. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm going. Got to get back to the trenches. Anyways, I'm actually gonna go. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.